I always asked myself whether we could shape the law so that it takes reality into account more strongly. And that brings me to a question I'm deeply interested in. What is it that makes societies stick together at heart? I'm Anna van Aaken, and I work in the field between law and economy, particularly international law and behavioral economics.
Van Aaken's research is revolutionary, at least in the field of law. Her work is about evidence-based legal research. It is not about how people should feel about laws and agreements based on cool-headed analysis, but about how they actually do feel.
We're trying to build up a new field of research, which is always a matter of teamwork. You simply cannot do it alone. I need my colleagues and hold them in high esteem, and I'm glad if some of them join me.
Psychological and socio-scientific approaches have been enriching economic sciences for quite some time. The huge potential for legal specialists is only gradually being recognized.
Yes, I always believe that to make things better, we first need to understand how things work, which involves understanding law as a social phenomenon.
Van Aaken's focus is international law. International treaties are fundamentally characterized by political agendas, individual egos, group dynamics, and irrational motives. She tries to find out how this can be made transparent and taken into account when it comes to international law.
At the moment, I think we find ourselves in a very difficult phase regarding international law. It is under attack, particularly from nationalist and populist politics, and I think it is important to raise the people's awareness of the great influence international law has on all kinds of areas, be it environmental protection or the protection of human rights, but also prevention of war. Here, too, however, we also need to understand better how law and social reality interact with each other. And I hope that I can make a contribution to that.
Correlations between how individuals take irrational decisions and how these microeconomics influence the entire system of macroeconomics, these are issues that fascinated the economist and legal expert early on. Now she's taking her multidisciplinary approach with her from the University of St. Gallen in Switzerland to Hamburg.
The Faculty of Law of the University of Hamburg has a long tradition, and it has the Institute of Law and Economics, which is one of the best in Europe, if not the best. Here, legal experts and economists work together, which is what I need.
Stimuli and impressions, new colleagues from related fields of work. The Humboldt-Professorship allows van Aaken to dedicate herself entirely to her voyage of discovery, in a city that has more to offer than just an exciting research environment.
I really enjoy living in a big city. So the changeover is very nice. The culture in Hamburg, the city of Hamburg. I think the weather could be a bit better sometimes.
How should agreements and international treaties be set up to accommodate human strengths and weaknesses? What psychological effects do they have? In order to analyze this in terms of quality and quantity, van Aaken uses field tests and lab experiments. For example, how approval and disapproval change depending on the way questions are asked. An analogy from the field of organ donation. In Germany, there's a so-called opt-in model. You have to give your explicit consent that you want to donate organs. Other countries follow an opt-out system. You have to explicitly refuse to donate. The difference is stark. In countries where you need to approve actively to donate, about 10% of the population are organ donors. The other way round, it's 90%. Making experimental findings usable for shaping law. Why not, for example, design climate protection agreements on an opt-out basis? Each country would then have to explicitly reject them, creating a theoretical frame for big questions. For van Aaken, this is her task.
Having the time to deal with things in depth, truly understanding, or at least trying to understand, answering questions you are interested in. I think this is a very special privilege. I can't imagine any better job.
Field research with UN negotiators, training diplomats at the Foreign Office. Van Aaken has got enough ideas for the next 5 years, and more.
Saying I wanted to improve the world would be too much. I think you can do that only in very small steps. But if law is the most important regulative factor of society, and so I hope the most important international regulative factor, namely international law, meaning that conflicts are carried out on a legal basis and not with weapons, the question is to what degree and what can we research to perhaps understand it better and thus make it work better.